Gypsy Spirit here with you, and I am so thrilled because I have this amazing, amazing man in front of me that I'm going to be interviewing on my show today. I have James Mitchell, who is from Intuitive Life Coaching. The name of his business is Life Plan, and he probably owns the most tarot decks in the state of South Carolina. He owns at least 100 and counting decks of tarot cards. And he was explaining to me, I said, did you bring some tarot with you? And he said, oh, absolutely. And I thought he just brought like one deck. And how many decks did you bring?
Probably about 6.
Okay. So he will, could you read tarot if somebody calls in?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so we will be doing some tarot reading towards the end of the hour with our show. This is going to be an exciting show, and this is the one show that I hope we don't have to do commercials. So James Mitchell does dream interpretation, Akashic Records,
yes,
Reiki, and tarot.
Yes, that's right.
And he writes, and he's writing for my new publication that's coming out in October, Access Mundi. And what else do you do?
Life coaching.
Life coaching.
Yes.
But you use your intuitive insight in life coaching.
Yes, actually, there's a thread that carries through all the things that I do, and that's the use of intuition. Okay.
And you also, I mean, you're a man of many colors. You also direct or manage the bookstore at the Unity Church.
Yes, that's a labor of love. So
yes.
I just love books.
But that is an amazing library that you have there at the Unity Church.
Thank you. That's nice to hear.
This particular church actually has tarot cards that you can purchase.
Yes, that's because of me. I'm directly responsible for that.
How about that? So, but we were talking earlier about dreams, because when you and I first met, we recognized that we both have a lot of the same spiritual gifts, and because I do dream interpretation as well. And you told me that that's kind of how you got started with all of the stuff that you're doing. So tell me how you got started doing this.
Oh, I'd love to. I'm originally from New Jersey, and when I lived in New Jersey, I had sporadic dreams here and there, but, nothing to write home about, so to speak. And then I moved from New Jersey to Charleston, South Carolina, and I've been here for the last 18 years. And I have a theory that when you change your geographic location, there's an energy shift that takes place within you. And I was on a path where, I was trying to find out who I was, quote unquote. And, shortly after I arrived, I started having precognitive dreams. Mm-hmm. And of course, the thing about a precognitive dream is you don't know that the dream is precognitive until the event that the dream is telling you about has taken place. And I probably should say, for those who probably don't know what a precognitive dream is, those are dreams that foretell future events.
Right.
And so
I have many of those.
And I started having a lot of those, but of course I didn't realize it at the time that I was having the dream. And then there are ways, that your dreaming style, you can tell when you're having a precognitive dream. At least in my case, I can. But it led me to want to know what do I do with it. There's a reason why I'm experiencing these dreams, and so I wanted to know why. And it just led into me exploring not just precognitive dreams, but just dreams generally speaking. And so I started keeping a dream journal, which was great when I started having your precognitive dreams, because you have documentation.
Already prepared, yeah.
Well, you have documentation that you've had a precognitive dream. So you can go back and reference
great,
that,
yeah.
For people who think that, there's no such
Crazy,
thing. Well,
yeah,
you have documented proof for yourself that, you've had a precognitive dream, which I think is great. So I was keeping a dream journal, and then word somehow got around that, I was a guy who was into dreams, and so I love conversations with people when they find out, because they say, oh, I had this dream. You have to tell me what it means. So, I love working with that. I never get tired of hearing people's dreams. I just love it. I could talk about dreams all day long.
Mm-hmm.
And then that led me into, while I was at Unity, to teach a dream class. I did that for a few years. That came about as a weekly series of classes we were having, and we did 2 weeks on dreams. It was so popular that instead of 1 week, we were focusing on different topics, once a week. And so when we got to dreams, it was so popular that we did it for 2 weeks. And so then after that, the people in the class said, well, is there a way we could do this on an ongoing basis? And so it was down to myself and another woman everybody in the class considered us to be the experts, although I don't think I'm an expert. I'm just a guy who's very passionate about it. Mm-hmm. And so the minister asked if one of us would, be open to the idea of teaching a class. And so the woman couldn't, and I could. So I did that for about 3 years. We met once a week and we talked about dreams, and it was just an experience I'll treasure always.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you see yourself doing that again?
Actually, yes. I've lately been having a lot of people come and express an interest in that again. And I'm a big believer in paying attention to life. When
Right.
life is speaking to you, you need to be paying attention. So when
Right.
things happen repeatedly, I go, I need to make a note of that. So I've had
Right.
2 or 3 people express an interest, in that. So I'm looking into getting that started again somehow, some way.
Mm-hmm. I would love to be a part of that,
Okay.
either helping assist you, or I don't know, because I think we all have gifts. I don't know. Maybe your gifts are a little stronger than mine, or it may not. Stronger is not maybe the word, but different.
Right.
Different.
Absolutely.
We see things differently. Do you, now I have to tell you, and you and I discussed this the last time that we talked, because I told you that fire in my dreams represents something bad. And you explained that everybody interprets certain things differently.
Oh, absolutely.
And, so like if they tell you on the internet, people will look up certain symbols or whatever, like if they saw a dragon or something in their dream, it doesn't necessarily mean what it is telling you on the internet. But if you keep dreaming about dragons and and something happens then over the next couple of days, you might use that dragon as a symbol as to what's going to come about over the next couple of days. Like for me with fire, I learned to recognize big fire means death. Little fires mean trouble that I need to be aware of, for me.
Right.
I've heard other people say fire to them signifies burning of old stuff and renewing like a phoenix.
Right.
And so everybody is different.
Oh, absolutely. I come from the belief that, there are 2 types of associations when you're talking about dreams. There's what we call the universal association, which means that everybody has collectively agreed that this is what the symbol means.
Right.
And then there's also the personal association. So it's very, very important that you keep those 2 aspects of the symbol in mind, because, while the fire may represent the burning of the old, for somebody who may have come from a background where they were trapped in a burning building, then the fire in a dream is going to represent something totally
really bad,
different.
Yeah.
So you have to take that into account.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing is, you read Akashic records.
I do.
And I remember you telling me, because that's a gift that when we had our discussion recently, I told you that I actually pray for that gift. And I don't, from what I've understood, is that the masters do not give you or reveal information to you until they believe that you're ready for it. Mm-hmm. And so you knew that you were ready because you felt it within.
Right. When I took my Akashic Records training, level 1, because there's different levels to it, it introduced me into knowing when, I call them my spirit team, but it introduced me to when I know the presence of my angels and guides, and everybody has them.
Right.
So it was just a matter of knowing when mine were present. And I didn't know that until I was taught how to access my own records. And like I was telling you that day we talked, I was in a bookstore. Imagine that, being in a bookstore. But I was in a bookstore, and the sensation of being in my records came upon me. And I thought, I didn't pray in. I didn't do the ritual that comes with that. And I'm in a bookstore, not even thinking about my records. And, it happened repeatedly. It would happen, in stores. It would happen, I'm driving down the road and I could feel them. And so I asked my teacher one day, I was like, well, I'm experiencing this and I'm never in my records when it happens. So I want to know, what that's about. And she said, your masters are just showing you that how sensitive you are and that you can just pick them up at any given notice. She said, you're very, very connected. You don't have to be in the records to connect to your guides. So that was my lesson from that experience.
Yeah. I'm learning from my own personal self. I am learning. You're right. You don't have to, be in rituals and all that. But I'm learning immediately when I begin to meditate, it just comes.
Right.
It just, I will read my tarot in the morning and, look at, okay, what am I supposed to be getting out of this? And I will go into meditation and immediately it just comes and the spirit starts telling me this is what you need to know. And, the visions will come. And I believe that everybody can do that.
Oh, absolutely.
But you have to ask for it. I think you have to ask for it and prepare your get into alignment, chakras, get into alignment with the universe. And sometimes that takes a little while to do, especially if you're not used to it and you have some blockage and things going on, which leads me to Reiki. Because like I told you, I've done Reiki a couple of times and I'm still waiting for the woohoo, but I have gotten some healing from it. I haven't gotten the healing to where I'm jumping on top of a building, yet, but I have, felt some blockage be removed.
Sure. I think there's a couple of things there. I think you're setting the intention to have the experience that you'd like to have. And I think it's just a matter of just becoming more open and receptive to the process. And since you're new to it, that takes some time.
Yeah. And so people always ask me, what is Reiki? And I say, well, it's just channeling energy. So can you explain to me?
Oh, sure. I have people ask me that all the time. So what I do is I tell people that it's a Japanese form of energy healing work, and it's applied hands-on. And what the process is that I open myself up to the Reiki that is within me and around me, and I'm just a conduit for it to flow through me. And like I said, it's applied hands-on, so a person is actually laying on a massage table, and I'm just putting my hands where I'm intuitively directed to put them and letting the energy flow through me. I tell people that practitioners, you can experience it different ways depending on the practitioner. Mm-hmm. And so the three common ways is that, one, which is my way of sending it, is that it feels warm to the touch. So when I place my hands on you, you'll feel warmth. Mm-hmm. You could also feel cool. It could be cool to the touch, or it could tingle. So any one of those three variations is usually the most common experience a person will have.
I've only had it twice, and I've had it where it was warm, mm-hmm. very warm. And since we're on that subject, you were telling me that you're going to be at the Unity Church tomorrow, every Tuesday, with the exception of the first Tuesday of every month. They offer Reiki from 7 to 9.
That's right.
At the Unity Church, and the cost is simply a love offering. That's if right. You can. If you cannot, that's okay too. But they have Reiki masters on hand that are there to take you, and it's like 15 minutes. Is it 15, 20
right.
minutes?
The process is we meet from 7 to 9, like you said. We start off with a meditation, visualization, and then what happens is the people who are going to be the practitioners for the night will take the people who are non-practitioners who are there to receive, and we all, make sure that those people receive Reiki first, and then after they have all received Reiki, then we give and receive Reiki to all the practitioners who are there, and that usually takes about 2 hours.
Yeah.
Great group of people. My own personal Reiki master teacher, Chris Franks, is in charge of it, and
she's awesome. I met with her. I met with her one time, and she's very quiet, but once she kind of warms up, she's really just. Yes. She's an angel.
Yes. When you meet her, she's very unassuming, but she's very, very powerful.
Yeah.
And I just have.
And she did my Reiki last time.
Oh, good. Oh, then you had one of the best people to give it to. But of course, I'm biased, but I just love her to pieces. I really, really do. She and I have a running joke. Since Reiki is Japanese, what I do is a form of reverence for her. I call her sensei, which is teacher.
Right.
In Japan, and it's a great deal of respect when you refer to somebody as sensei. So that's my name for her.
I will say this, that the last time, when she did mine 2 weeks ago, she had placed her hands on my abdomen. And she continued to move downward, and I kept feeling something on my abdomen after she was away, and I kept like pulling my shirt. And I told her, I said, I just felt something there even after you moved. She said, yeah, the energy will stay there.
Absolutely.
And that's what was going on, and I thought that something was tugging on my shirt. And at one point, I thought I didn't even feel her, but she was still working on me, and I'm like throwing my arms. Are you finished?
Now, when I used to receive Reiki on a regular basis, prior to becoming a practitioner myself, I used to experience where it seemed like more than one person was working on me. And then I'd open my eyes, and it turns out there was only one person there. Mm-hmm. But actually what happened was the spirit team was actually collectively working
really
on
cool.
me, because I could feel like other hands. It seemed like the sensation with other hands were on me, and I thought, maybe another practitioner has come over to help the practitioner who wanted to work with me.
That's really cool.
And I opened my eyes, and there's only one person there. So yeah,
that's real cool.
Yeah.
I did not know this about Reiki, but when you go, I guess, with not necessarily a question, but something that you want to work on, an intent.
Right.
And I know, like, she had asked me what was it that my intent, and I told her forgiveness. I'm working through a phase of forgiving people. That's hard.
Yes.
That's really hard.
Yes, it's easier said than done with forgiveness. And it seems like, just when you think that you've gotten to the point where you think you've forgiven the person, something will come back making you realize, I still have more work to do in that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very difficult for me. So I drew the Hermit card this morning, and
that's a great card to draw.
It is a great card, but it tells me that I've got work to do, that I have a lot of work. Well, that I'm working on for myself.
That, and my take on the Hermit card too is that there is wisdom gained through experience. So you already have had some wisdom for the experience. You may still have more work to do in that, but also look at the work that you've already done.
Yeah,
because it's about having experience. So.
In this particular, and my deck of cards. I think is there any tarot deck that you don't know?
I probably know them by name, whether I have them or not.
Did you buy Mary's cards from her? Because she told me she got rid of many.
Usually, when she gets rid of some, she just gifts them to me.
Oh, okay.
We've done that mutually, back and forth. If I've gotten a deck and it doesn't resonate with me for some reason, she'll take it off my hands, and vice versa. So
yeah, she's amazing. She came here. She was with us a few weeks ago.
I got to hear that show. That was a great show.
Oh, good. I'm glad you listened to it. In my deck of cards, what I saw this morning was the Tree of Knowledge that was in the stormy waters. So it was stormy waters all around it, but it had grown with the fruit, which told me that I've been through a lot of stormy waters, and I've gained wisdom already out of those those storms. So yes, that's basically what you were saying just
Right.
a few minutes ago.
Right.
And then
And also too, if I could add that, I hear the fruit part, and I think, that the wisdom that you've gained is actually fruitful, or it's bearing fruit. You're
Yes.
you're seeing the fruits of what you
yes.
you've put into that.
Yes,
So
yes, yeah.
that's a good sign.
Yeah, that is. Is he? I don't know what they're doing. But anyway, back to dreams. I want to talk very briefly about something that I learned a week ago.
Okay.
I'm taking a special class. I can't tell the name of the class, but I've been told I need to keep a dream journal. And what I was told, it makes a lot of sense, that we only use 10% of our brain.
Mm-hmm.
And throughout the day, we absorb so much throughout the day that while we're awake, we can only handle so much, so that when we're sleeping, sometimes those dreams that we have will reflect on things that we saw during the day that will show us maybe what we might have missed.
Oh, absolutely.
With our eyes opened.
Right. Your subconscious mind is a wonderful thing because it's just a storehouse. It's, you're always taking in imagery. And so what it does, it just files it away. Mm-hmm. And then the beauty part about sleeping at night is that, your defenses are down. So your subconscious mind wants to replay some of those images for you to understand what they mean for you.
Right.
And the thing about dreams in that case is there are those dreams that are what we call processing dreams, where you're just processing events from the day. Some of those could be things that you took in and didn't really give it that much attention.
Right.
And so now you get to really look at that again in a much more powerful way. And then there are some things, you had an event and you say, okay, so you're processing that. You could have seen what you could have done better, what you could have done differently. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I call those processing dreams.
Mm-hmm. I was telling you about a gentleman that I had prayed about, and Spirit told me to stop praying for this person. But the dreams that I've had lately, and I've had two within the past week, every dream I have of this person, his back is towards me.
Ah.
And he comes to me. He's always coming to me, but his back is at me. And what that told me was it's not good. I mean, he's not there for me. He's there, but it's just his back. It's not a good situation. So as I quit praying for that situation to come about, the dreams are showing me, why I need to stop praying. Why? And so the point that I'm getting at is I think that when we continue to have reoccurring dreams, we need to examine, why are we having those dreams? What is that dream trying to tell us?
Oh, absolutely. I think in your case, you would want to see how the dreams progress. I call those progressive dreams because it'll tell you about what you need to continually do in order to heal this relationship, or at least your part in it. The thing about recurring dreams, I also tell people, is that when you have a recurring dream, two things are going on. Number one is that there's something that's going on in your waking life that is seeking to be addressed. It's like a trigger.
Right.
It serves as a trigger for the dream. So I always encourage people that, track what's going on in your waking life at least 24 hours prior to having the dream, and seeing if there's a pattern or a single event that's commonly taking place or repeatedly taking place every time you have the dream. And then the other part about a recurring dream is that you didn't understand the message of the dream the first time you had it. And with dreams, it's very important that you just not only understand what the message is, that you actively work on applying it into your life, because that's the purpose of a dream. It's not just a point to getting to the point where you say, oh, I understand it, and then don't do anything with it. The dream is asking you to do something with it. And so that's the other part of that. You may have understood the message, but you didn't do anything to apply it. So you're going to still have the dream until the dream says, when are you going to do something with me? When are you going to fix the situation? Kind of thing. So that's my two things on recurring dreams.
We are honored to have a very special guest in the studio tonight, James Mitchell. We will be back, and we will be talking more about tarot readings, and I may have him do my tarot.
Okay.
Right. Stay tuned.
On Thursday and Friday from 7 to 8 p.m. and on Saturday from 1 to 3 p.m. for the Bob Charles Show, where the best of the best engage in insightful conversation regarding the dynamic dilemmas of our day. From finance to fried fish, Bob Charles is a Renaissance man with a master plan. Sexy and sleek, smart and sweet. Bob Charles is here, and only on Kinetic Hi-Fi.
Do you sometimes think life was just better when I was young? Maybe you're right. You know, there has been a marked decline in girls ages 8 to 14 that participate in Girl Scouting. And today we're looking for girls who are ready to be the leaders of tomorrow. Girls in this age group are vital to Scouting. They serve as role models for younger girls and uplift the community. And ladies, we need you to be that example too. Become a volunteer, a troop leader, or just enroll your daughter in Girl Scouts today. Call 843-552-9910 to learn more. At 164 King Street, find an oasis of calm, the Charleston Library Society, celebrating the written word, dedicated to enlightened thought within an atmosphere of gentility and learning. Established in 1748, it's the South's oldest cultural institution, and you're invited to visit. Come experience the elegant main reading room, our children's center, and join these concerts and other fine programs. Affordable membership is available now and always at the Charleston Library Society.
In a world that seems to be falling apart, one man stands as your guiding light to survive. Do you enjoy watching television shows about wilderness survival? Do you have concerns about the future and the direction this country is taking? Do you have questions about survival skills or techniques? Do you want the peace of mind that comes from being confident in your ability to survive? Then listen to my show, Survive This, Thursdays, 11 to 1 p.m. with me, your host, Survival Dave. Stay prepared.
Life is unfair. There are bumps in the road. What the? Fuck that. This is your life. You have a choice. We can get through anything together. Join me, Shannon McAllister, Wednesdays from 8 to 10. Let's find your passion. Let's get fired up.
J Square, juicing up your Charleston bliss. All things Charleston with a twist. Featuring social and professional networking, charity-focused events, missed connections, juicy gossip, and rants and raves. Every Monday from 8 to 10 p.m. on Kinetic Hi-Fi. Check us out on Facebook and Twitter. That's J Square Charleston.
Okay. We are back in the studio with James Mitchell, who says he's just having a ball doing this. And he just ripped out his tarot cards.
I told you I had 6.
They are some really cool cards. I'm so excited. He's going to read my tarot. But listen, if you want your tarot read, you can call us 843-225-8292. I do not have the website, the Facebook pages up or anything like that. So this time you're going to have to call in 843-225-8292. And this man is absolutely amazing. We will definitely have him back on our show again. So, all right.
Okay.
Do I get to pick or do you pick?
Actually, you can pick if you like. I usually try and get a sense from the client when the person comes to see me for a consultation, what the nature of their question is, and then I try and tune into what I think is the best deck for the question. But we can do it differently this time.
Well, no, we'll do it your way.
Okay. So do you have?
I don't want to break any thing. Any.
You don't want to ruin the mojo.
Yeah. There you go.
Okay. So, do you have a particular question, concern, situation that you want to address to the cards?
I do.
Okay.
What can I have 2 questions?
Sure, why not?
I have my first question is the success of my publication.
Okay, that's a great question.
And the other one is the man of my dreams. Where is he?
Okay. All right.
I keep looking, but he's nowhere near.
Okay.
It seems.
So, since you have said that, I'm feeling inclined to use this deck here. It was called the Mystic Dreamer Tarot.
Okay.
So I'm going to use this. Usually what I do is I shuffle the cards to kind of...
No, before you do this,
Okay.
I want to talk about the respect for the cards.
Oh, absolutely.
Because those are the cards that I use.
Oh, you have this deck?
Yeah, the Dreamer's Journal.
Oh, I love. Yeah, this is a fantastic deck.
But we were talking about the respect.
Yes.
With the tarot cards.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, really important if you have a deck of tarot to respect them.
Right.
You wrap them in beautiful cloth. Treat them with nothing but respect. And you said that you have like one particular deck that you use strictly for yourself and they're not for anybody else.
Right. What happens is when I'm graced with a new deck in my life, the first thing I do is I do a spread with it to kind of get a sense of how our relationship is going to be, because you're forming a relationship with the deck. And so I look into questions like, tell me a little bit about yourself. What is your greatest asset? What's your perceived liability or weakness? What are you here to teach me? And then what am I supposed to do with you? And then, the last card in the spread would be, give me some idea of what our relationship is going to be like. The card that, I really, really pay attention to is of what do you want me to do with you? Because that will tell you how the deck wants to be used. And I have some decks that I use for clients, and because those express the need to be used for people. I have decks that are just for meditation uses, for study uses, and then I have decks that just have expressed a desire to just be used solely by me for me. And so those, while I may show them to people, but I do not use those for public readings. So
I have to share with you, it's funny that you pulled that deck out, because I have been feeling that with this deck, that this deck is only for me at home, which I read every morning. So it's interesting that you pulled it. I didn't even know you had that deck.
Yeah, well, it's a funny, interesting thing when you said man of my dreams, that's what made me kind of clue in to say, okay, this might be the deck I'm supposed to use. So, one of the things is I'm a great listener, so I pay attention to the things that people say. But that, clued me in, and not knowing that you had a deck of this, copy of it yourself. So isn't that interesting?
That is very interesting. Yeah. I love this deck, but I'll be interested to see how you interpret it.
Okay.
Because that's the other thing about tarot readers.
Right.
Every tarot reader interprets the cards differently.
Absolutely. And that's the first thing I tell people when they come and see me. It's like, if they're new to the experience, I tell them, well, you're going to get the experience of having your cards read by me. The next time you may have them read by somebody else, and they may do it totally different. So you need to be prepared for that. So I explain them how I read tarot, because everybody who comes to tarot is taught to do it a different way. I was my dreams was a great way of showing me how tarot wanted to be used in my life. So.
I don't know that I was ever really taught. My grandmother read tarot when I was a little girl. She read from a plain deck of cards.
Yeah.
So she was like the real.
Right. And actually, when I had my dream about reading tarot, I didn't even know what a tarot card was. I had never seen one, never heard of one.
Really?
Yeah, in my dream, I was reading playing cards because I knew what a playing card was. I didn't know you could use playing cards in that manner, but I knew what playing cards were. And so I had to really work to find out that playing cards and tarot cards are directly related.
How did you find out about tarot?
At the time I had a dream dictionary, and I looked in that, and it had a description of playing cards and what they might mean. And one of the definitions was that, they were directly connected to tarot cards. And I thought, oh, okay, so maybe I'm supposed to explore what tarot cards are. And so I went to the public library, did my research, because I love learning things, and I'm a research person. And I went with the intention of getting all information I can get at the public library on tarot. They only had one book. So that was really easy to do. And I got my first deck was actually the deck that was used to illustrate that book. And so it's a deck I don't normally recommend beginners to get. It's a Crawley Thoth Tarot, and it actually is, ironically enough, the symbols on the cards are actually akin to playing cards. So, for instance, if you were to draw the Two of Cups, it would just be two cups, whereas on the playing cards, it would be the Two of Hearts, but I mean, then you have to intuitively know that's a Two of Cups, and you think, okay, well, it's just two cups. What is that telling me? And so I believe that people who are really, really gifted in terms of intuition or psychic can use those kinds of cards. So, but
absolutely.
If you feel like that's not your inclination, then I don't recommend it. I recommend getting the more traditional version of tarot. The more popular ones are what we call scenic or illustrated, where the Two of Cups would actually have a scene, and the traditional image in the Two of Cups would be a man and a woman, and they're each holding a cup, and they're facing each other. And they could be holding hands. They may not be holding hands. There's different things going on in the background. But, you can get more out of that, visually speaking, than you could in just looking at a card with just two cups on it.
Yeah. My first deck of tarot was very difficult to read.
Yeah.
And I still have it. But I don't know that I'll ever go back to them. But right now I'm really enjoying this deck, and look to be getting a new deck. Or maybe two decks, very shortly here.
Oh, great! Well, I always tell people that when they're looking for decks, you have to get one that's going to appeal to you, because you're going to be using it all the time.
Yeah.
So get one that speaks to you in terms of the images on it, how it looks, how it feels. Sometimes you can just hold a box, and if you're an energy person or you read energy that way, how does it feel in your hands? It's a great thing.
These I found at the Canterbury Cloak and Dagger, and as soon as I picked it up and looked at the pictures, I was like, well, I have to have this deck. Yeah. So
9 times out of 10, I'm very visually oriented and very visually stimulated. So I was aware of the deck prior to it being published. The artist was posting cards online on her blog, so I got to see how it developed. And, I fell in love with it. Yeah. So I fell in love with looking at it online all the time. And so when she got it published, I'm like, I got to have a copy.
Yeah.
So I was aware of what the cards looked like. But, if it speaks to me, like the artwork grabs me, then I have to have it.
That's
how
I
to
am.
have it.
Yeah. I think Mary's like that too.
Yeah.
So, okay. How do you,
Okay, so usually what I do
he is shuffling the cards.
I shuffle to clear the energy of the last time it was used, and then I give it to the person, so I'm going to hand it to you.
Okay.
And I ask you to think about the things that you have expressed in terms of your question, situation, as you're shuffling, because people get hung up on the shuffling, and I'm like, however you shuffle will be fine, because a lot of times people say, am I doing it right? I'm like, you're fine. Just think about your issue and concern, but shuffle the cards well enough. And then when you feel like you shuffled it enough, you can give it back to me. And then what I'll do, since you expressed 2 questions, I'm going to draw 3 cards for each question.
Okay. Yeah. And the name of this particular deck is called the Dreamer's Journal. And James was saying that it's just, the artwork is just awesome. And it really is. Whoever did the art, what's her name?
It was one of those kind of handle names. It wasn't like
So
I don't
just amazing artwork.
Yeah,
kind of has like a romantic 18th century Gothic look to it.
Right.
So.
In terms of the artwork itself, it's more like a digital collage, which is which is kind of where I'm moving towards in terms of interest. I got a lot of the decks that I get are computer generated or digital collage, which are very beautiful. And more 21st century kind of thing. The tarot's getting hip.
Yeah.
Okay, so
it is getting hip.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and look at your cards.
Okay. Do you need?
No, this is good right here.
Okay.
So usually when I do a 3-card, my first card in the spread usually tells me something about the situation. So now we're looking at your question about the magazine.
Right.
Okay. So the first card is the Queen of Pentacles. That's actually,
I like that card.
Yes, that's actually a very good card. She is all about doing things that are productive. So it's saying, too, in terms of the magazine, what you need to do is you need to have people who are qualified to do what it is that they're doing in terms of the magazine, because she's all about qualifications. She's also about a certain approach, and so it's about taking a practical, pragmatic, realistic approach to getting the magazine published. And she's also about, now one of the things is Pentacles, rules, and material, so, finances could be a part of that. So that might be a challenge in terms of, getting the magazine up and running. But she's all about doing things that are practical and pragmatic.
Okay.
Okay.
That's about right.
Yeah. So now the next card, when I do a 3-card, usually talks about any action steps you might be able to take or anything that you might want to consider. The tarot is a wonderful tool. It never tells you what to do. It just gives you information so you can decide what it is that you want to do. So this card is the 8 of Cups. Now, this card just represents on some level that this is about a departure. You're on a journey, and usually this one is about spiritual influences with that. Mm-hmm. Now, this card could be saying, too, that one of the things you might have to consider is that you may have to either drop some things or abandon some things. You might not be able to put it out in the way that you have envisioned it. There may be parts that you need to abandon or leave behind. But this card is saying, too, that the emphasis probably, or a great deal of emphasis in terms of the magazine, is all about our own individual spiritual journeys. Mm-hmm. This card is about also, too, about releasing the things that we no longer need in life. Right. The things that are unhealthy, because this card is about leaving behind what's unhealthy. So I see 2 things going on there. I see the theme of the magazine, and I also see that, all the things that you may want to include in it, you may have to really, really kind of evaluate and determine, I want this. This is not so important. I may have to let that go. And then if you follow the advice of this card, the last card usually shows you what the outcome would be like. Now, again, with that, the outcome is not written in stone. And this is my take on tarot. You might come across another reader who feels differently about that, and that's okay. My take on it is that, you're just being given information about the path that you're on and how it would most likely turn out. You still get to decide, because you have the power of choice and you have free will. Absolutely. And we don't want to rob people of that, because that disempowers people.
Absolutely.
So this card, a great card. This is the 10 of Pentacles. So now, out of the 3 cards, you have Pentacles at the beginning and the end. Mm-hmm. Pentacles are all about the material, the physical. In this particular case, this could be about career, because Pentacles are about the things that we value, and one of the things we value is our careers. Again, now this card would show that you may find whatever, if you're having money challenges, you may actually find a source or sources to help fund that. This is a great card. It represents material success and, you achieving the things that you want to achieve with this. Now, this could be the launching pad, and I think you're already here. I would consider you to be self-employed or an entrepreneur. This is one of the cards that reflects that. Mm-hmm. But this actually,
very much so, yeah.
But the magazine, generally speaking, is something that would be a valuable resource to other people, because that's another thing about Pentacles, is they're about resources. So this could be considered a valuable resource for the community, because this 10s in tarot usually represent community on some level.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, I did not know that.
Yeah.
But yes,
and this particular
very
card,
much what I'm doing.
Right. This card is about community of people of all different ages, races, backgrounds, but there's this common bond that links them all together.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
So those are 3
I'm
good
working
cards.
on drum circles, too.
Ah, that's great.
Yeah.
Very good.
We have one coming up on the 18th.
Ah, yes. I think I saw a posting on that on Facebook.
Yes. The 18th, the Shaman Smoke Shop in Somerville, from 5 to 8. Bring your drums, bring your hips, I'm going to be belly dancing.
Oh, wow.
So I don't do the drums. I belly dance.
Hey, we all have our things. So, not everybody can be a drummer. We need people to be belly dancers.
So yeah, there we go. But yeah, that's exciting for me as well. And I have a lot of things going on. But yeah, you're the second person though. Do you know? Are you familiar with Houston? Not the Texas. But
I was going to say no. I've never been to Texas.
No, Houston is a tarot reader, and I think he's gone to the Charleston Tarot Society a couple of times.
If he has been there, he's been there on times when I haven't been there.
Very young man. He did my tarot, and he told me the same thing, that somebody was going to pick me up
Great.
and pretty much finance or help me with my with what I'm doing. Didn't necessarily say publication, but that's the only thing that I can think of that I'm doing at this point. Okay, so let's find out about the romance.
Okay, now
if you want your tarot read, call 843-225-8292 and James will read your tarot.
Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing, same 3-card spread. In terms of your love life, we are looking at the Page of Cups. This is a great card to have because it says that, pages, queens, knights, and kings, which are all the court cards, they represent a way to approach things in life. This card is about embarking on something new. The Page of Cups, cups are about feelings, emotions, relationships. Right. So she's all about the new experience of that. So it's about being in a new place, emotionally speaking, to be open to a relationship. Usually when people ask me about a new relationship, I say, okay, the tarot's going to show you what you need to do to be open and receptive.
It looks like I'm already open.
Yes, and this is a great card to start off with. It shows that you are.
Yeah.
But yeah, she usually represents that you're about to embark on something new or that you're ready to embark on something new. The flip side to that is that, you are developing and you are maturing, so that would be what you would want out of a relationship as well. You don't want, because the flip side of being a page is that you're immature. If you're experiencing everything new, then on some level, there's a sense of not being totally mature in that experience. So on some level, you're being encouraged that as you mature, you want to experience a mature relationship. Okay. Next card is what do you need to do or what do you need to consider? Okay, the 4 of Cups. Now you have 2 cups back to back. So now the theme here.
That's a sad card.
Every card has its great points and its not so great points. The great part of this card is it's asking you to not focus or be preoccupied or distracted with what has been. If you're asking about a new relationship, it's saying on some level you can't be preoccupied and distracted with the relationships that you have experienced. Now, the lesson with this card is that you're being asked to look at your contribution in terms of previous relationships, because I have a take on it that everybody brings a certain energy to a relationship. It's not totally one person who either makes or breaks a relationship or the other. It's a combination of the 2 people who have been involved. So you're being asked with this card to look at what your contribution has been to the relationships you have experienced. Because now the downside of this card is about being in a place where you're discontent, you're bored. It's about experiencing something that's routine or the same old, same old. So it could be saying, too, that you need to break out of that pattern of doing something that's routine or the same old, because it's familiar. The 4 is you're being asked with the 4 as a number to look at the foundation that you have built relationships on. So it's more about looking within than without. But now the other positive aspect of this card that I want to leave out is that while the person is looking at 3 cups on the ground, there's a hand offering the person a 4th cup. That's spirit. Spirit wants to give you information that's going to help you with this area of your life. The idea is that you have to be paying attention.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So,
yeah, I always see the castle in the background. There's, it's there. I just have to go get it.
Right.
Okay.
And when a client, looks at a card and sees an image, then I ask them, well, what does a castle mean to you? Because if your attention is drawn to that, then it means something to you. You're picking up on something. So, so I try to help them kind of figure out what does that mean to you, kind of thing. Because it's far off in the background. So that could be representative of this is what's in the past, this is what the background of my relationships have been like, so forth and so on.
Oh, I can assure you that's not the past. No, maybe shacks, but no castles.
Well, you have to stop and think how many castles exist in this day and age, though. So, as a physical structure, there's not that many of them around. So, it's just my take on that.
I'm still looking for the fairy tale.
So castle could mean like the happily ever after.
Yeah, I'm looking for the happily ever after.
Okay, then that opens up a whole different ball of wax. Okay, so now your final card would be how things would most likely turn out. Now you have another court card here. This is the Queen of Swords. Now, she's all about experiencing trials and sorrows. Out of all the queens, she's the one who's had it the most difficult. But in turn, she expects the truth from people. So it could be saying, too, that, one of the challenges is experiencing the truth in a relationship with another person. It could also be, too, she's asking for the masks to be removed. On some cards, she's holding a mask that people have worn. So it's all about getting past the image that we put up and that we project to people, and it's about getting to the person who's underneath that. Mm-hmm. Some people are, don't want to reveal themselves in that manner, and they keep their guard up or something of that nature. But for me, she represents on some level two things. Number one, saying that this area of your life has, you may have experienced a lot of trials, a lot of sorrows, a lot of disappointment. And you also have to be careful about how critical you might be of other people in terms of a relationship, because that would make it difficult for you. Mm-hmm. So
I have that problem. Mm-hmm. I have a problem. I have a terrible prerequisite that he must have long hair.
Okay. Is that like a deal breaker?
I probably. Yeah. I don't know.
Robert Plant.
Yeah, if he looks like Robert Plant. Yeah, maybe.
Oh, I was supposed to say, yeah, he's got to look something like Robert Plant, right? Okay.
Yeah, he's got to have long hair. That's
okay.
just something.
You're taking a whole lot of people off the playing field if you're going to judge everybody by Robert Plant.
No. He doesn't have to look like Robert Plant.
Oh, okay.
No. I wish.
Okay.
No, but he has to have long hair.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, that's not so bad. That's not so bad.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of this particular question, the last card can sometimes indicate timing. And so for me, the Queen of Swords represents Libra in terms of time. And so that usually represents the end of September or, sometime in October that you could experience this new person coming into your life.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So those are your two questions.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Okay, we have James Mitchell, Reading Tarot, 843-225-8292. And our Brad, I've read Brad's tarot before, but I'd like for you to read his tarot to see if it...
We only got 2 minutes left.
We only have 2 minutes?
Wow, that went by fast.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to, but, can you give me one card? Or does that have to be
I can give you one card. Here, shuffle these for me.
Okay. However, shuffle them? Or?
Yeah, shuffle them any way you feel comfortable.
Okay.
And do you have a question, concern that you want to ask the tarot?
Yeah, I think I do.
Okay. Do you want to tell it to me?
Well, let's see. I guess just like, I want to know about traveling, if I'm going to be able to travel, and what if I'm going to be able to get out of this country and this place. Is that an okay question?
Oh, sure. So, you're just looking about future travel plans outside of the United States.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to draw one card since clock's ticking. Your card is the Four of Pentacles. And now if you notice, it's reversed. Now, the orientation sometimes can represent either there's going to be a challenge with that, a blockage, a limitation. It could still happen. It might not happen in the time frame that you would like for it to be. Now, this card would suggest that one of the things you want to consider, two things. Actually, I'm getting a sense of security. So it depends on where you're going and how secure you're going to be. Because this card, when it's reversed, indicates a state of insecurity. Now, the other thing about that is if you're going to do that, you have to be mindful of your finances and your expenses. Because this card is about looking at your saving and spending. It would indicate on some level you would need to save for whatever this travel trip is going to be, or where you're going to go. But two things. So I would say, number one, work on your finances. Number two, really, really think strongly about where you're going in terms of the state of security that you would need to have, or that's going to be involved in the place that you're going.
Cool.
Okay. And you could look about 4 months. If I don't know the time frame that you have, this is about approximately 4 months from now. So.
Cool.
Well, I've noticed a passport by your computer.
Yeah.
Is that you're getting ready to go?
Always ready to leave the country, just in case. No. It's actually my identification right now. I lost my license. So.
Oh, okay. All right.
On your birthday when you were partying?
No, a couple days later, though.
Oh.
Yeah.
He just turned 21.
Oh, congratulations on that.
Thank you. Yeah.
A milestone.
So we have been in the studio with James Mitchell, and we will definitely have him back, and because we still have so much more to talk about.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. I had a good time.
I've had an awesome time here talking to you, and I still have so much more to learn, as well as my audience. Thank you so much for joining in tonight. And tomorrow, we have a very interesting guest, and I think that I can't remember her name. Joyce. I know her first name is Joyce, but her last name is kind of hard to say. And she owns a studio in Somerville where she teaches martial arts. But she has a lot of other classes going on, such as Reiki and meditations and things like that. So we will have her on tomorrow talking, and it's all good. It's all very good. Thank you so much. It was an honor to have you here.
I'm the one who was honored. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
And everybody have a great night. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Good night.